Hello ladies, it is time for yet another review of Black Clover, the anime. Now this episode was in my opinion the best so far in terms of pacing and all of that jazz. The two previous episodes were good, but this one certainly takes first prize. I mean, we're only 6 episodes in, so I'm sure we're gonna get far greater moments within the Black Clover's run as an anime. This episode of course focused on the introduction of the main crew within the Black Bolt squad, as well as the unofficial initiation trial led by Magna, and well, as a manga reader I knew what was going to happen, but still seeing some of this stuff animated really was a treat. I mean, you've got the Magna stuff, which was pretty well animated, not gonna lie, but then we have the whole introduction process, which was handled really well in my opinion. The episode just begins really explosively as Magna and Luck are having a fight to see who's stronger, whatnot, and you know, it does give up vibes of Fairy Tail in that sense. Here you have everyone going absolutely crazy, and the captain has to eventually step in to make everyone happy and dandy. And in Fairy Tail, when we were first introduced to the guild, well, pretty much the same happened. The members were going mad and the guild master had to come along, and suddenly everyone was behaving nicely. Now, some could consider that to be a ripoff, and even if it is, I think it's a good way to introduce the crew, especially since they are supposed to be the worst squad around. I mean, you can't expect this squad with the worst ratings to have a bunch of people who are as well-mannered and well-behaved as nobles or something, and I mean, that just wouldn't work. I think having it any other way would probably have been far less interesting and not as funny, because it is an element which Black Clover focuses on a lot. Comedy. Now, the introductions already are good in my opinion. Now, I don't remember all of this from the manga, but it turns out they introduced pretty much everyone formally. Not quite, but you know, close enough. And they really do showcase the personalities of each and everyone quite nicely, some better than others, but those who didn't have as good of an introduction in this episode will get it later on, and that's all I can really say. And so we got the names Luck, Vanessa, Gray, Magna, Gouch, Finral, Charmy, Gordon, lastly, Yami. Now, we already knew of Finral, Yami, and Gordon from before, but they were reintroduced again in case some people didn't remember them, I guess. Nothing wrong with that, and I believe it was more of a formal introduction than the first time, since they are now in fact going to be living together and stuff, so having a good start is probably the best for everybody. So the characteristics that we got a very clear understanding of were obviously things like Vanessa's alcoholism, again kinda close to Fairy Tail in that sense, but I'm not really here to slander, and let's be honest, being original while sticking to the shonen tropes and all of that, it's not that easy anymore, since most things have already been done in some shape or form. Anyway, another thing of course being Charmy and her gluttony problem. You'll notice throughout the series that she never quite stops eating. You know, in many cases they just have their casual traits being heavily emphasized at the very early stages of the series, but in Black Clover they keep it in. Not really a spoiler, so that's why I thought I could mention it, you know, no harm done really. And I think that's a really nice touch, especially for Charmy, who is very tiny, but much like Saitama from One Punch Man, she has a tendency to change face. Now in this episode, that only really happened like once, and it's not too frequent. I mean, her usual form, if you want to call it that, is the tiny one, the lolly, chibi kind of thingy. Now, if you're a subscriber of mine, you'll know that I love my lollies, and you'll know I fucking love Charmy. Well, to be honest, you might not, because Black Clover is relatively new on my channel, but at least you'll know it now, so there you go. She's my favorite character in the entire series, and with good reason. She is just so goddamn adorable. I just want to squish her, you know, like a teddy bear. I mean, just look at her. Don't just look at her and think, yeah, I want her. And no, I don't mean in the sexual sense, mind you. I mean, that's cool too. I mean, she is legal, I can tell you that much, so if you want to, just let the juices flow within you. But what I'm referring to mostly is, you know, just having her as a personal effect, a mascot, something along those lines. And I think it was pretty obviously established that Luck and Magna are just those people in the squad who want to see who's the better Magic Knight between the two of them. I mean, they nearly tore down the entire fucking Black Bolt's headquarters in their wild little games as Asta and the others first came at the beginning of the episode. Okay, so the initiation trial of Asta led by Magna was obviously the highlight of the episode. I mean, I love me some Charmy and all, but as far as action goes, this was it. And well, the trial was basically basically Asta trying to dodge or block his fire magic, which has an easy start. We see how Asta is dodging the tiny embers very easily, but when Magna kicks up the gear to the finale, we see how even Asta, who can cut magic, faces an obstacle. It showed us that even if you can cut magic, that does not necessarily mean that you're the clear winner of a fight. In this case, cutting the magic would result in the split parts of Magna's magic hitting Asta anyway, and he would have lost the initiation, I guess. So Asta had to, for the first time since he got his grimoire at least, think of a strategy that might work. So instinct and Asta's mind are what dictated this whole thing, and quite by chance he tilted his weapon so that the flat side of the weapon was towards the magic, and it did, without him even being aware of the ability, reflect Magna's magic right back at him. So not only was he accepted into the Black Bolts with a smile on Magna's face, but he learned something new about his own way of fighting, which kinda hints at the fact that there is so much about Asta's inability to use magic that we don't even know about. Then we had that really interesting ending with that girl. Doubt her name is official yet, so I won't say it anyway. She looks at Asta from afar and calls him an insect. And that is, as you'll probably be able to tell, the same girl who Nozel said that her existence is unnecessary. So it really shouldn't come as a surprise that she's a royal at this point, but you know what? I think I'll be ending this review here, because I really don't have anything else to add about this episode other than the fact that it was good. Pacing's nice, animation was solid, so yeah, with that said, let me know what you think about this review or about this episode down in the comments, and as always, if you did, be sure to Detroit smash that like button if you enjoyed. And if you're new around these parts, don't forget to subscribe. This has been your favorite host Perm, and I'll see you next time.